G'day guys, welcome to episode 2 of From the Cabin. I am just put on my new trenching bucket, which pretty stoked about. Nice little 300mm digging bucket there. We're going to do some Aggies on this job, so just picked up this little beast from Rue Attachments, so happy about that. We like that, we do. So we're back with a few more questions from some other people from Instagram. So we'll get over to where I'm going to be working. I'm just going to do some cleaning up, and then pretty much home time. This job's done besides the Aggie pipe. So I'll just pull up these questions while I'm tracking out here. And we'll get stuck into it. So just give me one sec, because I missed one last week from EarthCon, which was, if you could change one thing in the industry, what would it be? Just one thing? One thing specifically is probably the stigma around sort of, no one wants to work together. It's all against each other. There's no like, you help me, I help you sort of thing, or give us a hand on this job, or any of that sort of stuff. It's all very, nah, this is mine, and you can't do that, and you can't work here, and that sort of stuff. That'd probably be the biggest thing in the industry for me. It's quite wanky, actually. Like, I just think people, should help each other, to be honest. It's a lot of bickering and, this bloke's shit and that bloke doesn't know how to do this, and just that egotistical shit. I'm not about it. If you're good at your job, you don't need to worry, and that's how I've always been. If you're good at what you do, the clients will come to you. So that would be my answer pretty much for, if I had to put down one thing for the industry, that would probably be it for me, I would say. As a whole. Alright, Luke Pearson Excavations. Which Volvo is better, the 9 or the 3? Well, I mean, just from a pure size perspective, the 9's always going to be more spacious, more comfortable, all those sorts of things. They have there's no different tech or anything between the 9 and the 3. They're the same series Volvo. So they're both a D series machine. Look at that bucket. Jeez, that's cute. So, I mean, I obviously like the bigger one. It's pretty plain and simple. I like the bigger one. It's more comfortable to sit in. I can just sit there. I can dig more dirt. I can do all that. So, for bulk and dirt and just kicking back and relaxing, it's not as jumpy. It's not as bouncy. In saying that though, my ECR 35, my 3.5 ton Volvo, I'm a massive fan of. Just in terms of that class of machine, it's one of my favourites, if not my favourite. I'm not saying that because I bought one. I tried quite a few sort of 3 tonners before I bought the Volvo, and funnily enough, I didn't even try the Volvo. I didn't get one on hire or anything like that. I tried a few of them, Cat, Kobelco. I've tried other brands later on, Komatsu, Yanmar, and I'm still happy with my decision on that. Have I had some issues with it? Absolutely. I've had issues with every piece of equipment I've bought, and if you don't, you're very lucky, no matter what brand it is. Whether it's, doing a hose or, more serious things, rollers, undercarriage, motors, whatever your issue is. I don't know. I chose Volvo purely based off their after sales. I mean, I like the look of them. I've always heard from an operating point of view that they were a good machine. I've actually never operated a Volvo prior to owning one, so they're not a very common machine, especially in the mini sort of game. They're pretty uncommon. I know a few people now with 35s, the 3.5 tonners. at the time of buying it, there was a guy in Queensland that I think had one before me, but they weren't a super common machine, and they don't make them anymore. They're not bringing them into the country. So, but overall, for your question, I also like the 9 tonne as well because it's got a tilt hitch. The 3.5 doesn't, so I got tilt bucket with that, which I regret every day of my life using it. But you know, I was worried about breakout and lifting capacity doing rocks and stuff like that. But all in all, I like the machine. It's got 2,500 hours on it. I was looking at selling it, but I'll probably just keep it. So, great machine, rate Volvo. So that's my answer to that question. What else have we got? Give me 1 sec, guys. I've got to pull it up on my phone. Jensen Excavations. What do you use to keep the rocks in place? Is it just backfill and smaller rocks? To keep the rocks in place, how do I do that? So basically, there's a few ways that we do it. Purely, I mean, one is the weight of the rock. I mean, these rocks in the camera probably look pretty small. Some of these are probably, 400 or 500 kilos. So there's that. We cut in a little bit of a batter back before. I don't know if you guys remember, I sort of had this sloping back so that the rocks are sitting sort of in not a swale, but they're just the back half of where the rock's sitting is lower. So we sit them in, a little bit of a channel like that, and obviously always undercut so that by the time that these rocks are backfilled, half of this rock's going to be covered with grass and topsoil. So you got pressure from both ends to hold the base rock, and then each rock is pretty similar. As you stack up, it is a matter of them sitting on pretty much their own bed of soil. The face of the rock, I always try and get 3 points of contact, so whether that be top and bottom, left to right, is best case, and you have to absolutely whack the rocks in. Sometimes they'll bed in pretty easy, but you need to bed the boulders in. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty hard to get a boulder not to move with this machine. If I was to hit one of these top rocks, they'd probably move. But by the time you backfill, do all that, they're usually pretty stable. Some people compact behind, some people put, depending on the size, will put drainage. Problem with putting drainage behind rock walls is because it's stacked back on a 45, it's hard to get watered down unless you backfill every course of rock with like a rail ballast or something, which just becomes super pricey, and it's not actually required. So some we have, some we don't. So it's purely the way you stack it, the weight of the rock, all those types of things. But at the end of the day, they're not a retaining wall, they're strictly erosion control, hence why we can get away with no permits and engineering for these walls specifically. I mean, this one's probably only a metre anyway, so it wouldn't matter. But yeah, that's pretty much how we do it. It's bed them in, always try and get, you never want the top rock overhanging the one below it. You sort of want everything coming back. So that's the answer for that question. All right, I'm gonna have to get my phone again. Gower start. How did you get into the Rock Doctor lifestyle? Jesus Christ. For the 6 people that listen, that's my sister, just being an idiot, but I will answer the question. I was into landscaping. We had Comfy Living Landscapes, and used to do a lot of conventional retaining walls. Price of that was a bit outrageous, so we sort of did a few rock walls here and there, become a bit more common, and just kept doing them, and pretty much Victorian Rockscapes was born from that. We still do conventional retaining walls if a client wants it, like I will quote the works, but people don't come to me for retaining walls, even though we do them and we do them great and whatever else. People see rocks and don't think we do anything else, which is, it is what it is, but we've built ourselves into a niche, and a niche that we're good at, so we stick to it. but most of our work's rock. But that's pretty much how I became Victorian Rockscapes, and how now pretty much all I do is rock walls. It was pretty much just from doing them, people being happy with them and going, oh, I want one of them. And the workload became that much that I thought, well, it's time to change the businesses and sort of get in a bit more of a excavation and rock wall style business structure. So that's what we did for that. There's nothing else really to it. I always enjoyed building rock walls. I love building natural things. I love the waterfalls and stuff that all the guys are doing now, and the swim ponds and stuff like that. Really love that stuff. I love transforming areas, which is probably one of the reasons I like the rock walls, because it's creative as well as, you know, earth moving and machines and stuff. So enjoy that. So that's pretty much the answer to that question. What else we got? I know there was one more. I'm just trying to. Here we go. There's a couple more. What's the best way to fill gaps between rocks in our rock wall to avoid snakes? I've had a few questions come through about reptiles and snakes and stuff. I mean, don't live in Victoria or Australia if you're worried about snakes, is probably where I would start. Move to New Zealand, there's no snakes there. Plants is my best answer to that. Plant out your rock wall. Like we always recommend, plant it out. Get plants in it. Turn it into a semi-green wall. People get lazy and they fill full of weeds, and then it becomes a too hard basket. I always recommend filling full of plants. Get this planted out. It helps stabilise the soil between the rocks too, and it acts as drainage. Plants need water. Where there is a rock wall, there is a hill more than likely. So you will need, plants will, you know, work as drainage throughout your rock wall. So for snakes, I would say, I mean, if you're that worried, put mortar in them, but I don't know, I'd just leave the snakes alone, maybe. Don't build a rock wall, but you're still going to get, if you're in a place where you're worried snakes are going to come into your rock wall, that if they're not on the rock wall, they're somewhere else. So I don't really have an answer for that. As I said in my last video, I keep snakes as pets. I keep lizards and monitors and, you know, all the creepy, no, not spiders. Spiders scare me, but most of the creepy crawlies I've got or had, they're not there to hurt you. They're really not. Just if you don't want to be around snakes, don't live in the country. Don't live somewhere where they live. Go to New Zealand. Go somewhere like that, and the snakes won't get you there. I don't know. I find it hard to answer that question, to be honest. But to fill the void, I can answer that. You can definitely, most certainly, put plants in there. You could put little rocks. You could also put mortar. Just make up some mortar with some, you know, sand and cement, and fill the gaps with that. I mean, probably won't look as good or be as pretty. So just drop me a water bottle. But that would be my recommendation for trying to fill gaps in a rock walls. Always plants. It's always plants. So, or get an engineered wall, a stonemason wall where they craft it by hand and chisel every rock and put it in like that. Otherwise, yeah, you sort of can't have your cake and eat it too, essentially. You can't go, well, I want a natural retaining solution and then go, but I don't want everything that comes with it. And I mean, I've seen snakes sitting on the top of concrete sleepers. Don't think concrete sleepers don't get hot during summer, and you won't get a snake sitting on one of them or laying up. Jesus, how's that? Just spitting that off. Sorry, guys. Don't think you won't get a snake sitting on one of those steel beams or on one of those concrete sleepers. It most certainly will do that. They get equally as hot as rocks. So that's my answer to that. I know I went on a bit of a rant there, but I don't know. The stigma around snakes bothers me. Yes, they're here. Yes, they can kill you. So can walking down the street. I don't know. Leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. That's how I've lived my life, and I'm yet to get bitten by a snake. So try and kill it, you'll probably get bitten. Unless you got a gun and you shoot it. That's pretty much my answer to that. Next question, and I think this is my last question for these. Let me just check. Best way to get backfill, so no snakes. Rock, Volvo, backfill. Yeah, so last question from Brad Barton, who actually does pool fencing. So I got my pool fencing through him, glass paneling, good guy. How regularly does the grease gun come out? Not as often as it should, mate, to be honest. Greasing's one of those things that you know you should do. It's like going to the gym. You know you should do it, but you're like, nah, fuck, should be right. I try and grease, try and grease two times a week, something like that. That's usually what I aim for. Sometimes it doesn't happen, so that's my aim. Like, I greased Monday afternoon, so I mean, if I was having a big day today, I could either grease this afternoon or in the morning, but I'm pretty much done here until we get these Aggies in. So I got me pipe coming for that today, but yeah, as for greasing, I should do it more, but sometimes you just honestly can't be bothered. So still check the oils and stuff every morning. Always let the machine warm up, warm down before you turn it off and on. But the grease, it's just a job. And I mean, we've got the automatic grease guns and stuff, but it's just a pain in the ass. It really is. It really is just annoying to do. I think if I buy a bigger machine, I'm going to get a self-greaser, just because I'm lazy. And I don't like getting covered in grease, honestly. So that was the final question from the ones I got asked on Instagram. So I think there was 5 or 6 there, plus the one from EarthCon that I forgot to answer last week that I just didn't see. I actually really like that question, and I could elaborate on that quite a lot, because I personally think the industry's fucked. I don't think it's a good industry. I don't think there's enough people out there teaching kids how to do, earth moving, civil construction, rock. What, like, it's all like, oh, you can't do that. You're not allowed. It's all that egotistical, shit where some kids are trying to get out there and have a go, but you won't let them. So I don't know. I'll give anyone advice. I'll tell anyone the stuff that I know, because no one taught me. Everything I know has been pretty much taught off my own back. So if you do have any questions about that, I'm more than happy to help any young kids that want to learn what I do, or want help learning how I quote. And I don't know. I'm not saying what I do is right, but I had no one to teach me, so. And I'm still here, and I'm still doing what I do. And I'm 8 or 9 years in, I don't actually know, something like that. Between 7 and 9 years I've been in business for myself. And I walked out from a job at 20 years old. Yeah, so it'd be 9 years. Or maybe I was 21. I'm not sure. Walked out when I'm out and started a business. No car, no money, no nothing. So I must be doing something okay. You just got to get out there and have a crack, and don't let people tell you otherwise. But anyway, that's enough for me ranting on today. This video has gone for nearly 20 minutes. I want to try and keep them around this time. If you're liking what I'm doing, please leave a comment. Please share it. Please tell your mates if anyone's interested in what I'm doing. I am still going to be trying to put up videos of my jobs. I haven't stopped on the idea of that. It's just so much editing. And so much time spent editing and putting all the footage together, and everything like that. Like, I've probably got 5-6 hours of footage just to go through from this job, and like, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but you got to watch all that footage. You have to then edit the footage and re-watch it, and put things in and cut bits out and add bits, and it's hard. So if anyone that actually watches that's into media wants to work out a deal where you can edit the fucking 70,000 hours of footage that I need to upload, I'd be more than happy to work something out with you. So on that note, I'll get this video up pretty easy because I'm not editing these. These are just getting straight downloaded from the DJI Action Pro camera that I bought, which I think is much better than the GoPro, personally. And straight onto YouTube. I'm not fucking around with it. I'm just uploading as is. So I'll get this out, guys. If you're enjoying it and you have watched this the whole way through and listened, I appreciate you. And like, share, subscribe, do all those things, or don't. That's me thing, or don't. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have yourself a good day.